Author's POV. Weeks passed since your time as Jungkook's temporary doctor. You had returned to your usual routine, though thoughts of him still crept in at unexpected moments. You wondered if he felt the same, if he even remembered the late-night conversations and shared laughter. As you finished a late shift at the hospital, you checked your phone and saw an unfamiliar number with a text. Unknown number, still drinking enough water, Dr. Y/N. You blinked, your heart skipping a beat. There was only one person who could text you like that. With a smile, you typed back. Y/N, last time I checked, you were the one who needed reminders. The reply came almost instantly. Unknown number, touché. Meet me for coffee? Or is tea more your style? A few hours later, you found yourself sitting across from Jungkook in a cozy, hidden cafe. He wore a dark hoodie pulled low over his face, blending into the shadows, but his eyes shone with a relaxed warmth you hadn't seen before. He tilted his head, studying you with a small smile. It's nice to see you outside of the medical setting, he said, his tone light yet purposeful. You smiled, feeling your cheeks warm slightly. You seem different without all the equipment hooked up to you. He laughed, leaning forward, resting his arms on the table. And you seem different without the lab coat. I almost didn't recognize you. Maybe that was the point, you replied, trying to match his playful tone. He smirked, eyes lingering on you a beat longer than usual. So, was that your way of saying you missed me? You looked away, flustered. I wouldn't go that far, you replied with a teasing smile. But maybe I was curious. Curious, huh? He leaned in, the light teasing in his expression replaced by something deeper. Well, I missed you. Just thought you should know. His words hung between you, the atmosphere thickening. At that moment, outside the constraints of your doctor-patient roles, the undeniable spark between you felt even stronger. Jungkook's POV. There was something about being near you that made him feel alive in a way he hadn't in a long time. He reached for your hand, his thumb brushing lightly over your knuckles. The gesture was simple, but it sent a spark through him. Jungkook took a slow breath, his fingers brushing over yours as if testing the waters. The touch was light, but his hand lingered, sending a shiver through you both. Y/N, he began, his voice almost a murmur, eyes searching yours. This might sound crazy, but being with you makes everything else feel so distant. I keep trying to ignore it, but I can't. I can't stop thinking about you. I tried, but every time I'm alone, you're there, in my mind. You looked at him, eyes widening slightly. He could see the flicker of surprise, but also something else, a glimmer that mirrored his own feelings. Jungkook, we come from such different worlds, you said softly, though your hand stayed in his. Does that matter? He asked, squeezing your hand gently. When I'm with you, I don't feel like an idol. I just feel like myself. You swallowed, looking up to meet his earnest gaze, a mixture of hope and vulnerability in his eyes that sent your pulse racing. For a heartbeat, everything seemed to stop. Then, as if pulled by an invisible force, he leaned forward, his gaze dropping to your lips. Your eyes met his, and he saw the faint nod you gave, a silent invitation. Y/N's POV. The moment his lips brushed yours, the world outside the cafe disappeared. His kiss was soft at first, hesitant, as if he were testing the waters. But when you responded, a soft sigh escaping your lips, he pulled you closer, deepening the kiss, his hand cradling the back of your head. You broke apart just long enough to catch your breath, the reality of the moment setting in. Jungkook, people might see us. He laughed softly, his thumb tracing along your jawline. Let them. I don't care. With a mixture of nerves and excitement, you glanced around. The cafe was nearly empty, and in the dim light, it felt like your own little world. You leaned in, pressing another quick kiss to his cheek, feeling a thrill rush through you when his arms tightened around you, as if afraid to let go. The two of you stayed close, whispering secrets and stolen dreams, your hands intertwined. In that moment, nothing else mattered, not the fame, not the world outside. All that mattered was this feeling, this connection, and the promise of something more. As the night wore on and the cafe started to close, Jungkook pulled you to your feet, his hand warm in yours. Let's not end this night yet. I have a place we can go, he said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. You raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. Are you sure it's not some secret fan site? I wouldn't want to get mobbed. He chuckled, leaning closer, the playful smirk back on his lips. Only if you want an autograph, Dr. Y/N. I hear my fans are pretty demanding. You rolled your eyes, but you couldn't help the smile that broke through. I think I'd rather have a kiss than an autograph. He pretended to think about it, tapping his chin dramatically. Tough decision. I could get both if you play your cards right. You laughed, shaking your head. You're unbelievable. Unbelievably charming, you mean, he shot back, winking at you as he guided you out of the cafe. As you stepped into the cool night air, the city lights twinkled like stars around you, and Jungkook squeezed your hand gently. Trust me, it'll be worth it. I promise not to reveal any embarrassing stories about you, yet. Is that a threat or a promise? You teased, trying to keep the mood light even as your heart raced. Definitely a promise, he said, flashing you that boyish grin that made your stomach flutter. But don't worry, I'll only save the best stories for when you least expect it. You found yourself laughing again, the sound echoing softly in the quiet streets as he led you toward a secluded park. You really think you can keep me on my toes, huh? You challenged. He shrugged playfully, I have to keep you entertained somehow. Otherwise, you might start giving me boring checkups instead of fun nights out. Boring, you feigned offense. I'll have you know my checkups are top-notch entertainment. Sure, if you count me falling asleep in the middle of them as entertainment, he shot back, eyes sparkling with mischief. You nudged him with your shoulder. I'll remember that when you're back to your demanding schedule. You won't be able to sleep at all. I'll just have to make time for more not boring nights with you, he said, his tone turning a bit more serious as he turned to look at you. Because I really don't want this to end. You felt your heart swell at his words, the teasing tone replaced by something deeper. Neither do I. With that, he led you deeper into the park, the laughter and lightness between you blending perfectly with the soft rustle of the trees and the glow of the moon overhead. You both knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful and a little bit dangerous.